welcome to Morflix and welcome to Mortgage Talk Live. And today we have a very special edition, a very special interview. Today we are at Leadpops global headquarters in beautiful San Diego, California. And today I have my guest here. And today is different because we are doing recorded. It's not live stream like we usually do here at Morflix. But we have Andrew Pawlak. He's the co-founder and CEO of Leadpops, and this is a new edition, a new program that we want to do, a new channel that we're gonna do over at Morflix Streaming Services, where we're gonna have a channel completely dedicated to technology, and brand new channel, and we're gonna have Andrew and Leadpops is gonna be our first episode, our first show for the technology channel inside Morflix. What's Morflix? Real quick, I call it the Netflix, but dedicated, 100% dedicated for the mortgage and real estate industry in the United States. The first one, and we're here in streaming or broadcasting this on all applications, and hopefully you will enjoy this interview. How you doing, Andrew?
Marvin, great to see you in person, in real life.
I know, not on Facebook or recorded or something. Very pleased to be here in your headquarters at Leadpops, and I wanted to talk to you in person. We're live in San Diego here. We're in your location. And this is a relaxed interview. We like always do with Mortgage Talk Live. We divide it in 15 minutes or so in introducing you, your history, your company, how you came to be what Leadpops is right now, one of the premier lead generation or lead websites for us, and I'm one of his clients too. I gotta say that he's not paying me for this at all, but I gotta say I'm one of his clients through the brokerage in Orlando, in Otiva Lending over there in Orlando, and the other 15 minutes we can talk about a little bit about current market situation, what's going on, what are you seeing, picking your brains a little bit, and I wanted to ask you about your book. Mortgage Marketing Manifesto. I read a little bit about it. I haven't finished yet. It's a lot.
It's a light reading. What do you mean?
So I wanted to ask you, if you were to edit this book right now, because I know you wrote this before COVID, before even the year was started, what would you edit on this book for the mortgage loan officer, the loan originator that wants to read it? What would you edit, or what would you add to this book right now, the moment that we live in the situations that we live in right now with the pandemic and whatnot on this market?
Sure. All right. Good question to start with. So I wrote the book in 2016. So 4 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. I am pleased to say that most of it is very relevant still today, right? So a lot of times industry changes, marketing, technology changes quite a bit, but most everything in that book is relevant. A lot of the Facebook targeting that I talk about specifically has changed. I believe that's in chapter 8 of the book. I cover Facebook marketing. A lot of the tactics are relevant, but some of the strategy for targeting is no longer available. But everything else in the book, I would say today, is going to be relevant to mortgage marketers, real estate marketers, people looking to generate leads. Specific for this environment that I don't get into as much though is virtual events. Instead of having an event where you might have a group of first-time home buyers and trying to do that at a location of some sort, maybe at an office or a hotel where you have a catering and you say, hey, we got our title company, we've got our insurance representative, and then we've also got an hour session to talk to you about buying a home, first-time home buyers. Being able to look at also, hey, this could work and would work just as well doing this on a Zoom, like we're all becoming so used to now, right? So many of these things that we used to not even really think about doing in a virtual environment, now we're forced by necessity to do it that way.
Zoom went from about 30 million users to 300 million users because of the situation now. So everybody's using it. They're doing the virtual conferences and whatnot, but continue on. What would you suggest to somebody to get used to start working with Zoom, some other software, so start getting used to that? And talking about the situation with COVID, what do you see in the next 6 months to 12 months?
Sure.
happening here with at least with our mortgage industry and the real estate on the side too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, understanding that, hey, an event, just like someone can register to show up to your location, physical location, they can do that registration to show up to a Zoom invite where you can have many more people, much lower costs, talk to more people in that kind of environment. So just being open to that being, I don't like to say the new normal because that's a phrase that's getting thrown around a lot, and I don't like to think that a lot of the things that are happening are going to be normal, but this should and could be normal. Maybe we can do this remote. Maybe we can do a virtual open house and walk through that open house with a video camera and broadcast that to home buyers instead of just doing pictures. I've been a fan, I touch on it a little bit in the book, but the 3D open house is like a Matterport virtual tour where it's almost like anyone that likes video games, where it's like a first person camera view of walking through and be able to click through and actually see that home. That goes a lot further than a picture, so just utilizing technology because it's available to us, and now that we're forced to, I think a lot of people are embracing it and realizing, oh wow, this is not that much more difficult for me to embrace, and for people that are out there, consumers, it's actually makes you a lot of times more accessible than show up to my office, show up to my location. You can only call me during business hours. CRM, automation, communication via technology again is so important. I talk about it a little bit in the book. We're not a CRM company, but we do connect to a lot of different CRMs that clients are using. So people, I think, since I wrote the book to now, today, are understanding more and more that they can use tech to automate communications, at least at a basic level. You don't want tech to replace you because it can't. It doesn't have that ability to empathize or understand the nuances of a consumer's needs. But some of the basic things can be done for you automatically. So, text messaging has become a very obvious means of communication, whereas businesses, I think when I wrote this book, it was more like, I can't text message my clients. That's so unprofessional. You better be texting your leads back as a way to communicate.
Yeah, it has a 98% open rate versus an email with 10-15%. So it's
on your best day, right? With the best subject line ever, someone will open up your autoresponder email. So this kind of stuff has been really fantastic just to see, because the results are speaking for themselves. Screen time has gone up tremendously right now. People are having more opportunity to kind of spend on their phone and on their desktop. So we've seen not really a dip in any kind of lead generation ability for clients. Some people that are struggling with employment obviously are not going to be able to buy a home in this kind of environment, but rates are lower than they've been probably ever. So it's balanced itself out.
We're recording this on July 17, 2020, and the breaking news was last night that rates fell for the first time below 3%. So like 2.98. So the rates are and lenders, and I'm telling you this on the side of me doing the loan origination through my brokerage, and we see lenders are overwhelmed. They're trying to keep up with the volume because the volume is incredibly high. I was watching an interview with Barry Habib, and he said in the first few months of this year, 2020, on the average year, on a good year, you have between $1.5 trillion to $2.5 trillion, 2.5 to 1.5 to 2.5 trillion in refinances purchases. The first few months, you have about $5 trillion coming into the pipeline. So that's why everybody got so overwhelmed, liquidity problems. So hopefully they'll keep up and they'll start, getting more loans closed, so that way they refresh their pipeline and less loans. But this year has been super crazy, at least with the volume, and we see it in our operations in our office. Let me ask you this, in terms of operationally with your office, we were talking this a little bit before, that pretty much like my office too, most of the time processors, everybody's on their houses, working on their houses. Very rare you see somebody coming to an office. Talking to Jason a few weeks back on an interview that I did with Jason Frazier, he was telling that where he's gonna see a big change or a big down on it's gonna be on office rentals, office the commercial office space, because CEOs, owners are gonna like, well, I can send these people home, and it's gonna be a lot cheaper for me, not paying parking, not paying this, not paying that. What do you see in terms of that? You being a business owner, having an office like me, and paying this big overhead. What do you see? Are we gonna let those leases expire once they come due? Once they, the expiration term comes in, are we gonna continue renewing? What do you see if we can have the same productivity as somebody in a house, less money, more profits maybe? What do you see in terms of that?
I think.
What's your personal opinion?
Yeah, I'll give it to you. I think a lot of businesses are realizing like we don't need all this extra cost. I think a lot of people or businesses, I should say, have maybe overly extravagant offices, or you don't need the marble foyer and the fountain in your lobby, and that's a lot. I think sometimes for ego or for whatever, for show, where you don't really need that kind of stuff. For us, we had just moved into this big new large office in December, and then all of a sudden in March,
go home.
Everyone go home. We'd moved into an office twice the size of our old one. So that was a little bit disheartening, but we're doing well in a remote environment. We already were a work from home Friday business where we already offered that as kind of a perk or a benefit, because we can see that productivity wise it wasn't hurting, and morale wise for our team it was nice to be able to say, hey, that's pretty cool. I get to work from home on Fridays. I don't have to drive in. Don't have to deal with traffic.
So you already had that implemented in your process. Fridays you work from home, so you already had the setup where work remote environment, your PC, your computer, whatever.
So we already had Slack going, a company-wide Slack channel. We already have so much of what we do virtual. Zoom was already a regular thing that we did in our office and with clients. So it was like, instead of you're not working here on Friday, come back in Monday. It was just, hey, don't come back in Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, and just stay and do what you're doing. But camaraderie-wise, vibe-wise, energy-wise, that is something that we're actively working to try to keep up. It's very, first month it's kind of like, okay, people are kind of, oh, this is new, this is neat. I'm gonna go and fire up my webcam maybe and roll out of bed and sit in front of the computer. But month 2, month 3, it became more of an effort to really, hey guys, let's not be 3 weeks since you shaved last, haircut, hair's down to your shoulders, you're wearing the same outfit for the last 2 weeks, you got, graham crackers on your shirt. Like, treat this as this is your gig now. You wake up, you take a shower, you go on a run, you put on
dress,
you dress up,
get a haircut, try to
let's so as a leadership team, we're trying to really just keep the team inspired and motivated, and shift your work environment from being in the office to at home, but keep your mindset as you're still a professional. You still got to have that energy. So we just finished today a company happy hour. Just together, we all shared some stories and some wins for the week, and some of us shared what we call our why, just to get some of the new team members we've just recently hired, because we've been growing during this time period. We've had half a dozen or so new team members join us in the last couple of months.
That's fantastic. That's awesome.
So it's great, but it's that now we're hiring new people during COVID, right? We're bringing new people on, where it used to be we do this office setting in the training room for 2 days training, and now it's like, okay, let's do this over Zoom, and you can't do it all day long. So it's different. We're learning and we're figuring things out. But
for me, running an operation over there, we're about 30 people, including processing, back staff, and whatnot. I see where it's a little bit of more effort, trying to get everybody together, where they don't have interruptions. Some of them are moms, they have their kids. So I find it a little bit more difficult working virtually, because of that attention span. Where if you have it in the office, you have the schedule, the training, the manager or the supervisor could be in top of them. So I find it a little bit difficult. Maybe productivity could be lacking a little bit, but it's what we can handle. I mean, what can we do when the government is telling you no, go on and do this? Florida right now, middle of July, 2020 is supposedly overwhelmed, hospitals, whatnot. So, but for me, I like it more in the office. Because I had the people in the office, you can talk to them, they bring you a file, have a problem, I have a situation, help me. But virtually, it's something that we gotta get used to now. But it's a little bit, for me, it's a little bit more difficult. I like face to face and sitting down in a conference room and talking and training, and I like it that way. And I miss that.
I do too. 100%.
We try to go. Last couple of weeks we try to go out. My partner, because I've been in Salt Lake for the past couple of weeks, my partner called me yesterday and she told me, look, I'm gonna have everybody come wear masks. Supposedly there's 16 people infected in our building, and we have a central. Apparently we have a central AC. I didn't know that. And so it's just nuts. So how do you came about? What was the idea? What brought you to Leadpops? My understanding is you were in some other company and then it developed to this after. What was the history of you coming to Leadpops? What was the beginning of Leadpops? In other words, how do you start it?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a long story, so I'll try to keep it really quick and short. Got into sales pretty young. I was 19, didn't want to go to college. Parents were super educated folks and said, you need to go to school or get into sales, as your really only two opportunities to make a decent living. So I didn't want to go to school, got into sales at 19. First sales job was real estate websites for a local San Diego company, cold calling real estate agents. So this was in 2004. Cold calling real estate agents to sell them digital marketing and website solutions. And took it really seriously. I wanted to prove to myself, to my parents, to everybody at the company that I could make it there. There's 100-something salespeople on the sales team. It was a pretty big company. They had over 15,000 real estate agents as clients at the time. So I took it seriously. I studied. I scripting and calls and listening to Brian Tracy and Zig Ziglar at the time. I got into this thing and I wanted to be the best. I'm very competitive. Within a few months.
So you were doing the real estate sales, but not listing or not.
No, just websites.
You never got your license.
No,
it was just websites.
Just websites, and I very quickly.
And this was in the infancy of technology, or at least internet of those days.
Yeah, it was.
It was
the Wild West back then.
Yeah.
2004. I took it seriously. I got passionate about it. I understood that, wow, this is a pretty big thing. Websites for businesses. This was, to me, just mind boggling when I learned that there was 1 million real estate agents at the time and we had 15,000 clients. They're paying a monthly subscription for a digital product and you're cold calling them. So you're picking up the phone to call up a real estate agent to try to sell them this website. I'm like, this is bizarre. All of this is just weird. But I liked it. I got into it and I just saw this business model that made a lot of sense. I got good at sales. Within 6 months, I was the #1 sales guy at this company. There was 100-something salespeople there, and I just wanted to beat everybody. And I studied, and I practiced, and I did scripting and all this other stuff. So I quickly just realized that what I was selling, I didn't really believe in. I'm selling something, and if I'm selling it morally and ethically, I'm kind of I don't really like what I'm telling people because I'm making sales, and I'm really good at the delivery of what I need to say.
That's what happened to me with timeshares.
Okay, timeshares.
Month and a half, bye.
Yeah.
I got my real estate license in '97, and I went right after that. I went to sell timeshares. I lasted 1 month and a half because I didn't. Yeah, the product might be nice, cool, why not? But I didn't believe on it. So you know what? I just go and sell real estate where people are gonna live on it for the whole year, not a little piece. So, but continue.
Yeah, no. So that's a big thing for a salesperson.
You have to believe in what
you're selling.
Yeah.
So that was an issue for me. So I would go home at night and I would start messing with clients' websites. I would log into the admin panel because you could do this at that time. These weren't WordPress websites, but these were very similar in terms of content management. You could log in and you don't have to be a coder. You don't have to know how to code things, but you can figure things out basic, like how to move something, change something, add an image, change the site. These types of things were possible back then still. Even if it was primitive, it was still available. I was doing something called conversion rate optimization. I didn't know that. I don't think this phrase existed at that time. If you looked at Google Trends or what things were getting typed in back then, I don't think this was a thing necessarily. But I was doing it. I was messing with clients' websites in a way that was producing better results for my clients. So by changing things, by manipulating an image, changing text, moving things around in a way that I thought would be beneficial for them to get leads, my clients were getting better results. So I was selling them a solution and then going home and doing what I logically thought this will make it work better for them.
And this was for your book of business
For my book
or
of
for
business,
the entire company?
For my book of business.
Okay.
So what I was doing for my book of business started showing results, and the company started adopting some of these things. They're like, hey, Pawlak's clients are doing well. Look what he did to that page. That makes sense. We could upsell that. This can be an upsell. This could be a feature. So things I was doing were becoming adopted. These ideas were getting embraced in some way. Some of them were not. I'm this young guy. I got not an ego, but I think I know some stuff, and I'm like into my concepts, and I wanted to have more of an impact there. But I'm just this young kid with kind of an attitude who, they liked it, but it was still, I wasn't having what I wanted. Like, this wasn't my company. I'm not going to have final say. I'm not going to be able to lead the direction of this business. So I resigned, and the CEO of this company, everyone acted like he walked on water. He was, at that time in the business, he was already pretty removed. So when he came around once a month, everyone's like, oh, he's here. Steve's here. Yeah. Like, don't tell anyone. Like, it was a thing. I'd never really met him before. I just heard about this mythical man who walks the grounds once in a while. So he wanted to take me to lunch. So it's like, wow, you're going to go out to lunch with Steve. Like, be on your best behavior. I come with my notepad and I just start grilling him. I'm like, what are we doing for this? Why are we not doing that? He was completely caught off guard because I'm supposed to kind of be kissing his butt a little bit. I had respect for him, but I was also like, why are we not doing that? How about this? Let's bring this into the equation. Like, I'm ready to go. He didn't know about a lot of the things I was talking about. He was very removed. He had created a beast of a company, and he was already at this point kind of like a little bit writing in the background. But I met him and I was not,
semi-retired.
Yeah. And not to say I wasn't impressed, because I have very much respect for someone who changed the trajectory of my life, and it absolutely did. If it wasn't for his company and my experience there, I wouldn't be, I wouldn't have what I have now. But it was saying also that he was a very plain and normal person. Like, I was not like, this is the guy? You're telling me that there's no one behind him, this is the guy you're saying started this company, and you guys all act like he's this amazing human, but he's the most plain, normal kind of guy. So even further in my head, I'm like, I could do this myself. I create, I'm good at sales. I can get on the phone, cold call people, talk them into giving me their credit card. If I have something I believe in, I can sell, especially if I'm doing these extra things that I know are actually moving the needle and delivering for my clients. I really like this product idea. I can create products. I can work with a developer. I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to create my own company that does this. And that was 2004. Started a company in 2005 that did mortgage website templates. We got it off the ground. We were profitable within 6 months. I was VP of sales and marketing, created a lot of the product roadmap, did initial sales, cold calling, recruited some really strong salespeople, got us off the ground. We were profitable very quickly. But my partner and I did not see eye to eye. So a lot of disagreements, a lot of issues with management, treating people just in ways that we didn't align on, a lot of turnover at this company, not believing in investing back in the product, back in developing the product, back in our people. It was very much like, let's not spend money at all on these things, and let's just
see where things go and
put it in and bank accounts. Like, wasn't mine. His uncle had funded the company, so I was a minority owner. If someone's gonna go, it's not gonna be them, it's gonna be me, right? So I created this business that was successful, had a lot of great people on the team that came on, and I was a part of this thing that was very special. But I realized that I'm not going to last here. This isn't for me, just because the way, again, my partner and I didn't agree on things. Before I was ready to really make it official that I was going to leave, 2009, I had this idea for a new product I wanted to develop underneath that business. It was called Leadpops. I shared it with my partner, who is now my COO, who's here with me today, was in the room at the time. She was my VP of customer service at the time. So I shared it with both of them. I was like, I have this idea. We'll call it Leadpops. We're not innovating right now. We're not creating anything new from what we did when we launched in 2006. How about we look at what the biggest companies are doing? This concept was born from looking at LendingTree and Lower My Bills, who sold for $330 million. Our product was not converting leads the way I thought it could and should. I understood lead generation for our clients, mortgage primarily, real estate. This was the most important thing our website should do for them, is capture leads. There's room for improvement. Instead of just kind of guessing at what could be the way to do it, I said, why don't we look at LendingTree? Why don't we look at Lower My Bills? These are two huge names in the industry. Their entire business is selling leads. What if they're doing something unique or special that would be something we could replicate for our clients? Why are these big companies the ones that are doing it in a certain way? And sure enough, I did a lot of research and I just quickly uncovered LendingTree, Lower My Bills. These two that I keep referencing were the big players in the industry, especially at this time. They had a very unique formula as to how they converted clicks into leads. So anonymous people hit your page, they click on an ad, an email, they heard you on the radio, they saw you on TV, whatever got them to your page, that's just half the battle. So you can't do business with clicks. You've got to be able to convert those clicks into leads. I took a look at what these companies were doing, and it was very clear to me that they were doing something special. They had a way of asking for information, of taking you through this process of asking questions that was unique. I saw there's a psychology to it. They were not asking you right up front for a name, email, phone number. They weren't asking you 25 questions all at once. They weren't.
It's more of the questionnaire type of sequence. Yeah.
There was a logic to it. It was kind of fun to interact with, and nobody else was doing it like this. So I said, why don't we create a product out of that? These big lead gen companies, billion-dollar companies today, I think LendingTree is worth a couple $1 billion. Lower My Bills sold for $330 million. These companies know what they're doing. They've tested this. They sell leads. Why don't we recreate this, create a product out of it, and give it to the little guys, the people that are out there that need to generate leads, are trying to generate business, that are doing it completely wrong, spending all this money driving traffic, doing ads, Facebook, Google, emails, all this stuff, but
to get stuck on a very static website where people, like you said, when they spend a couple of seconds and buy, they don't complete the application, they don't do anything. And to do that questionnaire sequence, it makes it more interesting. I think less intrusive.
Yeah.
It works. Obviously, I'm one of your clients, so it works.
And it doesn't go for the jugular. It's not give me your name, email, phone number. Like tell me where you live. Stuff that people hit a site, they don't want to give you that information. And if it's nothing but stuff to read and maybe like a contact form, you're gonna get traffic. You could be number one in Google. You could spend all kinds of money driving traffic, but if you're not converting those people into leads, it doesn't do you any good. So this is the idea. This was the concept. I shared it with my partner. I said it could be a plug and play. It's like a landing page. This would be for landing pages are really even a thing. This is 2009. He laughed at me, like right in front of my friend and COO today, and said, "Get back to work. It's a stupid idea." That was like, there we go. That's my thing. I can leave. I can create something new, unique, special. I have this idea. I want to stay in mortgage and real estate. This is what I know, but I don't want to leave and just create like a copycat company where I'm just now doing the same thing we're doing here. I could do it better, but I have something very unique, a unique sales proposition, a unique value proposition is critical. I've created one. I just got to go build it. So about a year and a half later, I had already resigned in 2010. So next year I'd already left the company, had been working on this idea throughout 2011. We finally launched the business in 2012. My CTO is the one who built it, my partner. He's a software developer working nights, built the product. We launched and it was to not a lot of fanfare. It was just myself working from home now at my kitchen table. I'm back to cold calling on the phone, trying to sell this new product. No one had ever heard of this thing. These are like lead funnels. It's lead generation, landing pages. 2012 at this point, I'm talking to deaf ears. Like nobody wants to hear it. Like me cold calling by myself. It's very different than when, my other company we started, we had $100,000 to launch the business. I had a sales team. I had things I could, support people. It's just me and trying to sell an idea no one is even really buying into because it's just so new. It's not just I'm not even trying to sell a website. I'm trying to focus on forget your website. You need the lead capture. Your website's nothing unless you have this important component. It was not really, again, getting picked up very well. It was just me making phone calls, trying to support the few clients I had. I'm the service guy, I'm the support guy, I'm the onboarding. It became very clear to me that I'm not going to get anywhere unless I land a whale. I made a list of companies that I could sell this concept to, that I said, who could I partner with that would be a big name, that I could not land one guy at a time with me just cold calling myself. I need to land a big fish that's going to be a open door to a lot of clients. Zillow is the top name on that list. Cold called into a lower level person at Zillow, worked my way through, finally got up to a director of mortgages at Zillow, pitched him on the idea of Leadpops. I said, you have a lot of mortgage advertisers on your platform in what they call their mortgage marketplace. I said, you guys are using these pages that are not optimized for lead conversion. I saw what they were doing. To me, it was very clear. I'm like, this would be the perfect partnership. They're a very forward-thinking company, very innovative. They said, that sounds like a smart idea. We'll test it out. We'll test what you have versus what we're doing. We'll split the traffic. We'll do 50-50 in real time, and we'll see if what you're saying works, because it makes sense, but let's try it out. I was like, let's go, let's do it. Within a week, 2 weeks, within days of going live, they saw it. They let it ride for a little bit before they said, okay, this works. We literally doubled the leads for this first test. A big advertiser that was a very also forward-thinking guinea pig client of theirs, who's actually still a client of Leadpops today. He said, hey, I'll test it. If we lose a little bit of money, I'm okay with that, but this sounds like something I could, the risk is relatively low and the reward is pretty high. So he wanted to try it out. It immediately showed great results. They said, let's make sure it's not a fluke. We're gonna plug this into other areas of our website to see how this works. Immediately, we're going from 2 to 4 times the conversion rate of clicks to leads than what they were getting.
Wow.
So Zillow looks at it also like, hold on, before we roll this out, because we want to roll this out to all of our advertisers now, we're going to remove all the pages we're using. They were using a platform called Unbounce. Unbounce is a great landing page builder, but Unbounce is not really specialized. This is not, what it's meant for. This was a very specialized way of approaching lead gen for mortgages. I had created a product specifically for that. So Zillow was looking at pulling out all those Unbounce pages, replacing it with Leadpops. But they said, hold on. If we double the conversion rate for these advertisers, that means they could spend half the amount of money and get the same amount of leads. For Zillow, that's not a smart business move. That means they're going to cut their ad spend in half and get the same amount of clients. That's not really good. So what if we double what we're charging per click instead? So if we charge twice as much per click, but because of your pages at Leadpops, the conversion rate is double. The cost per funded loan, at the end of the day, the mortgage company is paying the same amount. So the math works out. So they literally doubled the inventory of clicks in their mortgage marketplace. So they just doubled what they were charging. The mortgage clients were like, hey, what? Oh, yeah, I guess we can't complain because, our overall cost to close a deal, let's just say, is $500. It's still $500. So it worked out really well. We worked together for almost a year. And during that time period, they started kind of letting me know that, hey, we're going to start kind of building what you made for us ourselves. Because right now we're just like stapling on your thing. We're going to, we have a tech team that's bigger than this whole building. Like we're Zillow, we're going to kind of take what you've showed us and built for us and we're going to do it ourselves. So later that year, this is now 2013, towards the end of 2013, they started removing us and replicating what we built for them. This was heartbreaking. This was like, we're there. We just landed a partnership with Zillow, biggest client ever. I'm on cloud 9 for months. This was going well, but also all of a sudden it starts to dissolve and I start to see that they're just copying what we made for them and cutting us out of the equation. I don't have money. Am I going to go to court with Zillow? And this was, you got to bounce back. You got to figure out, you got to pivot. You just had over 100 clients out of nowhere and now you're back down to like 6 clients. You're still at your kitchen table. You're back to almost square one. You got a lot of good experience, but now you have a really good story. Now you can tell people, now you have a sales pitch. Like you just partnered with Zillow. You created the lead generation strategy and technology that Zillow is using today, still the same thing that they have in place on their mortgage marketplace. So use this to create a relationship with another company called Bankrate. Bankrate.com, another billion-dollar company in the mortgage industry. They lost a lot of clients to Zillow when Zillow was launching their mortgage marketplace. Bankrate was scratching their head trying to figure out how the hell do we compete. Showed Bankrate what we did with Zillow. Bankrate was not doing anything like Zillow was doing. Bankrate was not providing pages to their advertisers. Bankrate was letting their advertisers provide the pages. These things were terrible. Zillow was at least identifying like, hey, we can't let our advertisers give us a page. We have to at least give them something because these pages that they'll give us are terrible. They're not going to spend money with us if they're not converting leads. Bankrate was like, wait, we got to look at the pages that were, oh wow, that makes sense. We've never even considered it. We started doing an audit of what their advertisers were driving traffic to. Some of these people were sending you to like a PDF. You click on it, a $12 click off of Bankrate, you click on it and it like loads up your PDF reader.
Oh my God.
So showing them what we did with Zillow, and our conversion rates were literally between 12 and 20 something percent. So in some cases like 24, 25%. Bankrate's at like less than 1%.
Wow.
2%. So we're just literally flip a switch, plug us in. You know, I was also letting them know that, hey, I just worked with another $1 billion company. It was exciting, but I got kind of ripped off a little bit. So I'm a little sensitive to this. I don't want that to happen again. We can have paperwork and things like that, like I did with Zillow, but that didn't really protect me. Bankrate was very understanding and ethical and awesome about it. They treated me well. There's a very strong mutual benefit. They wanted to fight back against, you know, a lot of client loss that they were experiencing through Zillow. I was like, let's take Zillow out, kind of. I don't know. It wasn't my bitterness about the situation had died off. I was ready to just like, let's do this. Here's my new partner. This is another $1 billion company. So we partnered with them. They spent about $250,000 with us from 2014 through 2017. We rebuilt the entire Leadpops platform to be a SaaS company. We were building everything by hand at that time. We took everything we learned from Zillow and Bankrate, built it into our platform, so it was now plug and play. What we learned working with $2 billion companies, we now had a solution that a loan officer, a mortgage broker, a mortgage company could click a couple times right off our website, launch an account, and have these really fun, engaging, effective landing pages that they could then plug and play into anything. So we then started adding services, website solutions. We started adding marketing services, Facebook ads, Google ads. How do we drive traffic to these pages on top of giving you really good tech? So just investing back into the company, the growth. Ended up partnering with a couple big companies in 2018, Movement Mortgage, Fairway Mortgage, Brokers Are Better became a relationship. A couple other mortgage companies and entities in the industry partnered up as we started gaining traction. So it's been a build up over time to get to where we're at, but
it takes time, but yeah.
Oh, my overnight success story is only like 7 years in the making.
Yeah, it takes time. Yeah. I kind of had the same situation with Morflix. I told you, where you know some people think, what do you mean? It's never gonna work. And some people, wow, that's genius, that's incredible. So, but I'm taking it day by day, taking my time, no rush, and hopefully Morflix will develop, you know, like Leadpops, and it's a nice story, but it's gonna take time. It takes time. Good thing, you know, good things take time, and and I know that you have done a great job. We're one of your clients, and definitely the system works. We don't even buy leads. We don't even do leads, and I get it on my email. Lead from Leadpops. I don't even marketing myself. What the hell?
That's the trick. That's
so the team works by itself.
Yeah.
Imagine, and I gotta talk to you later about this. I want to go ahead and I want to provide leads to. We have 22 loan officers in my office. I want to provide leads to them. So I want to go ahead and get the full system going and get a campaign going with Facebook and Google, whatever, and get these guys leads because they want leads. And not originating as much or barely anything because I'm managing the group plus developing Morflix. So it's thank God I have a partner like you. You have a great partner. You COO, right?
Yeah, CTO and
CTO.
my COO. I mean,
yeah,
and
that's the
whole
key.
team.
Having great
Blessed.
partners to help you. And she's over there in Orlando, helping with the group, helping with the you know the fires that come out on the mortgage business. So. But I really I'm blessed to have a good partner and good operation, clean operation. We've been doing it for almost 17, 18 years now. So, but I'm very impressed with your story, and definitely you will keep growing. And like you just told me at the beginning of the interview, where you have been hiring people even during COVID, which that's incredible. I mean. Not a lot of companies can say, well, I'm hiring during a pandemic or a situation like this. So you're growing, you have a great company, great product. I'm witness to that, and definitely. What more can we say, man? And your plans are keep growing it, keep developing, getting more partnerships. Is that what you're trying to develop little by little?
Working on partnerships, product development, constantly invest a lot of money back into developers, the team, growing the company, growing the marketing services. I'm out to try to create $1 billion company. So I know it sounds kind of crazy, but that's the goal. So
no, man, if you put your mind to it, you'll do it. You'll do it because you little by little. It has taken you 7-8 years, but you do it. Same thing with me, Morphix. Wish me luck. We'll see what happens in the next couple of years, and we'll develop a couple of good technology companies and.
Before the robots come and put us all out of business, right? That's the goal. The robots are coming, so there's a small window of opportunity. I don't know when they're going to be here, but things are going to change.
The AIs are coming.
And we're going to have to learn how to make robots and code robots, right?
Well, Andrew, I really thank you for being on Mortgage Talk Live here on Morphix, and we'll launch the interview pretty soon here in the network. And I really, really thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here in your headquarters in beautiful San Diego. Hopefully you can one day visit me in Orlando or maybe Utah, because I'm planning to open 2 offices, one in Utah and one in Orlando. But you're welcome, and welcome to Morphix anytime. Any new product release or whatever, just let me know, and we'll do a Zoom or whatever we gotta do and show it to the world. Because I know you have a great product. A lot of people, get, at least on the mortgage brokers are better group. I see a lot of people talking about Leadpops and they like it. So you have an awesome product, man. Any final words? Anything you wanna use? Finish the conversation.
Thanks so much for being here, inviting me on the program. I got to throw a shout out to the call to action. Go to leadpops.com if you're interested in learning more about it. And I do thank you, Marvin, for having me on. It was a fun time, and it's definitely awesome to see you growing as well.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.